Okay, so backup power, another system down here in the engineering space. So backup power is provided by this Perkins. This is an English-made diesel generator. Uh, it supplies, if I remember right, 15 kW. It may be 20 kW, but more than enough to run everything in the cabin in an emergency situation, with the exception of the hot tub. I'd say the hot tub probably makes it groan a little bit when you run it. So that being said, it's extremely dependable. So let me explain how this works. So outside line, this is your main distribution box down here. So this literally comes in from uh, outside, and it comes to this point right here. You have two choices to supply power. You either have the utility, which is on 100 amp breaker, or I think this is a 50 amp here. I can't see, or 60 amp, which is generator. So this is in the on position. This is in the off position, and it's got a rocker switch here to prevent you from running both of them. Now, a little overview on this distribution box. So you'll see here that there's a 50 amp breaker that runs the hot tub. That's this top one up here. This feeds out to the hot tub area. And then on the side of the hot tub area, I'll show you that in a moment, there's also a protective GFCI breaker out there that feeds to the hot tub. The second one coming down is a 40 amp. This one feeds your water heater right over here. So this is your electric water heater. This one down here is your well pump. So that line goes back to the well hole that's in the mudroom area, the place that nobody found. Shop lights and receptacles are all the lights and receptacles in this space. And then this is a sub feeder. So this one actually feeds another smaller distribution box that's out in the family room. You'll notice it on the wall right near the back door in the freezer area as you would go out to the greenhouse. Again, these, you're either going to get a feed through this one from the MEA power, or you're going to get it from the generator power. This one down here is another sub feeder. So just like this one, this feeds the family room. This is the one that feeds the main cabin. So directly to the left of the door, there's a brown distribution box that has the breakers for all of the circuits that are in the main part of the cabin. So the family room is going to service everything in the family room and everything in the bunkhouse. This is going to service everything in the main cabin. This one's going to serve everything in the engineering space right here. And the only ones you have left are these last two, which I said earlier feed the furnace. Okay, so you've lost power. What are you going to do? You'll see that this generator, this engine, powers the generator box right here. So this motor, they will run for about 100,000 hours. And I don't know if you can see it, but this has about 550 hours on it. Literally, this thing has a ton of life in it. You'll never wear this engine out. The only thing you have to do is just make sure your oil, like any engine, your oil water levels are good. But other than that, it's dependable as they come. So this black box is actually where the motor turns it into electricity. All right. And then this, this is an actuator switch. This is actually what starts your generator, and we'll actually start it here in just a second. It feeds the power into this main breaker. This is a 60 amp breaker that comes out. It feeds a line. This line then comes up into this plug. So this is the main power coming in from the generator. This comes up into this breaker. So if you've lost power, this is going to be the configuration when you first walk in. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to turn off the MA main breaker from outside. That's the Matanuska Electric Power. And then you'll want to turn this one on, but we're not going to turn it on yet. The main thing is shut this one off. We'll turn this one on in just a minute. Okay, so you've lost power. One of the things before you fire up every single time, you don't have to check it all the time, but you want to check the air filter. I do have spare air filter, and I have spare oil and a spare oil filter. So air filter, oil filter, water. But I think this is actually antifreezed up as well. Yeah, it also has antifreeze. Not that it gets that cold in here, but this will get very loud when it runs, and it also can get quite warm in here. So I'll give you a couple strategies that I use. Here's your oil check line here. So you want to check. You always want to check oil and water, and you want to make sure nothing's blocking. I mean, you don't want to have a bunch of stuff all stacked up in front of your radiator here, because it's going to pull air. But before I turn this off, I always come over and I'll open up this window all the way. And I will open up this door all the way. And I'll usually put something. And the reason for that is so I have really good, cool circulation coming in here in the window. That way this engine has, it's not going to get hot. Because it can get quite warm in here, and I don't want anything to overheat. So I've never had any problems with it overheating or anything, but it's just a precautionary. This line coming up is actually the exhaust. So this exhaust line goes all the way out here, and it kicks up out here at the end. Okay, so I'm going to get ready to fire it off. Mind you, this breaker is on. It doesn't have to be, but it is. But that breaker is off, so we're not going to feed any of the generator power. This gives you a couple of different indicators over here. It's kind of like a mini dashboard. If you have low oil pressure, high water temperature, if it's over cranking or for some reason it's over speeding, you literally... it'll give a little light indicator up here. Not all the indicators are necessarily here. And the one thing I will say is that it does not auto start when you lose power. And there's actually a good reason for that, because it's better if you lose power and you're not here. You really don't want the engine firing up, because you don't know, you don't know what, if there's things blocking it, you don't know if there's engine problems. So it's better for you to manually do the start, but it's very easy. Now it's going to get very loud when I do this, but I'll just show you how it works. It's a flip to the right. All right, there you have it. You can see engine started. Breaker on. This breaker off. Then what you're going to do is turn all of these breakers off. Let me secure it.